Okay, so let's walk through the Parmenides poem. This Parmenides poem you can find as a PDF file. So I would highly suggest that if you haven't, do print out the poem and have it with you. What I'm going to do is kind of walk us through this. It's kind of a weird poem, but once we kind of see how it works, it's not that bad. So check this out. The first stanza, Parmenides, who's the poet, says, "The mares that carry me, as far as my heart ever aspires, sped me on, when they brought me and set me on the far-famed road of the god, which bears the man who knows over all cities. On that road was I born, for that way the wise horses bore me, straining at the chariot, and maidens led the way." Okay, so let's see. What we have is a road. There it is. And this is the road of the goddess. Okay. All right. Now, there's a guy. Here he is. Okay. And he's in a chariot. So just forgive the crudity of these drawings, but you know, we're kind of going for the point rather than the artistry. Okay, so those are supposed to be mares, okay? And then here is our guy. Now, it says that my heart ever aspires me. They brought me on the far-famed road, which bears the man who knows. This is significant. And so this guy here is the man who knows. All right. This will become more important later on. And if you notice, there are maidens leading the way, he said. Right? So there they are, the maidens. And they are leading him thusly, right? So we are heading this way. All right. The axle and naves get a whistle of pipe blazing, for it's pressed hard on either side by the two well-turned wheels, as the daughters of the sun made haste to escort me, having left the halls of night for the light, having thrust the veils from their heads with their hands. Okay, so another important thing is that we are moving from the night, right? He said the houses of the night. Okay, so there's the moon, to the light. Okay, so there's the sun. So obviously, you know, if we're moving from darkness to light, I mean, that's a metaphor for enlightenment, obviously, right? And so if we look at, our guy, our man who knows, he's on the road of enlightenment. It's the road of the goddess, right? And he's moving from night to day. Okay, continue on. Parmenides says in the second paragraph, first stanza still, first part, second paragraph, "There are the gates of the paths of night and day, and a lintel and a stone threshold enclose them. They themselves, high in the air, are blocked with great doors, and avenging justice holds the alternative bolts. Her the maidens beguiled with gentle words, and cunningly persuaded to push back swiftly from the gates the bolted bar. And the gates created a yawning gap in the door frame. When they flew open, swinging in turn their sockets, the bronze-bound pivots made fast with dowels and rivets. Straight through them on the broad way did the maidens keep the horses in the chariot." Okay, so the next thing is he comes to these doors, right? And these doors are the doors of night and day. N and D, night and day. And then you know what? Let's erase a little bit of this. We'll come back here. Okay. And he says, right, that avenging justice holds the bolts. So, in other words, the key to this is justice. So here is justice. I'm going to personify justice. Okay, that's supposed to be a god. Whatever. And so justice holds the key. Now, we see that the maidens escorted him through the gate, right? So our guy is now here. So he's made it through this gate. So at this point, we can conclude, and here I'm going to put the hat on so you know it's him. There he is. So we can conclude something about this guy. If he has gotten through these gates, then he must be just. And justice is going to be an important aspect of all this. And then our guy is talking to the goddess. Okay, and here's the goddess. G for goddess. And she's going to tell him a couple of things. And the goddess greeted me kindly and took my right hand in hers and addressed me with these words. Young man, you who come to my house in the company of immortal charioteers with the mares which bear you, greetings. No ill fate has sent you to travel this road. Far indeed does it lie from the steps of men, but right in justice. It is proper that you should learn all things, both the unshaken heart of well-rounded truth and the opinions of mortals in which there is no true reliance. But nonetheless you shall learn these things too, how what is believed would have to be how what is believed would have to be assuredly pervading all things without. Okay, so she says he's going to learn everything. He's going to learn, but she says it in two sort of ways. One, the well-rounded truth. Okay, so let's go truth here. But then also, she says, he is going to learn the opinions of mortals, in which there is no true reliance. So the two roads here are truth and opinion. Now, other translations will sometimes call this truth objective. Remember that we've got different translations. This was written in ancient Greek, and so what words we use in English, there's an element of choice. Probably more closely to the Greek was this author who said, well traveled. However, objective would be a word that would have more power in modern English. So objective truth and subjective opinion. Okay, so that is what is going on in this poem. Then she says to him at this point, come now, and I will tell you, and you must carry away my account with you when you have heard it, the only ways of inquiry that are to be thought of. The one that it is, this is this road, the top road, the road that is. And the one, and that it is impossible for it not to be, is the path of persuasion, for she attends upon truth. The other, that it is not. Oh, I'm running out of room down here. The road that is not, and that is needful it not be. That I declare to you is an altogether indiscernible track, for you could not know what is not, that cannot be done, nor indicated. Okay, consider this. So here's our guy, right? And he's moving towards enlightenment. Now notice, you cannot get to this point where you see the difference between truth and opinion unless you're just, right? So our guy, because he made it through the doors, this man who knows is in fact just. Once the man is just, and notice she said that it is far from the steps of men for a man to be just, but once a man is just, he can see the difference between is and is not. Okay, now I want to go back and look a little bit more at these two roads. We're not going to look at the whole poem, but a few more paragraphs will give us a sense of what we need. Okay, so look for the next part, Parmenides Part 2.